What's up guys, it's your boy Ruin. We are back for another Kuro Kiseki video. So this morning there was actually a live stream between Nihon Falcom and Cloud Leopard Entertainment, and they put out a bunch of new information for Kuro Kiseki. So there's going to be two new videos. This one's going to be solely focused on the gameplay. They posted 3 different clips, and we're going to go one by one and break them completely down here because it went by quick. It was very short, but there's a lot of information here. The first thing I want to take out is just the general view that we're going to see while we're doing our battles. So first up, we've got the in real-time battle action. In the upper right-hand corner here, we've got the mini-map. During the in real-time battle action phase of the gameplay, you can actually see the mini-map while you're playing, while you're fighting. The next thing I also want to point out is right above the mini-map is we got a bunch of monsters here. So these are all the monsters that we're actually engaging in currently, and we can also see, right, we're engaged. And then if we go over to the left-hand corner over here, we can see our actual party group. Underneath, we have the HP bars. And the main thing I want to look at here, so right now we're controlling Agnes, right? In that video, we were controlling Agnes, and she's the top one. So one thing that's going to be interesting is in these clips that I'm going to be showing throughout this video, there's only the 4. Aron, Vaughn, Feri, and Agnes. Now, going over to Hajimari, we got a current 8 people party member. If we want to switch a character out, we can only switch with the reserves. Right? Because obviously in this game, when we're in turn-based, I'm controlling Reen. I want to use up his turn, and then it automatically goes to the next person because it's turn-based. When we're in the in-real-time action, are we going to be able to switch between our reserved members, or is it only the characters we can switch with that's actually active in battle? That's one thing to consider. Another thing, the way you're going to switch here is you're going to press your L1 input command, and basically what I'm assuming is you're going to have to then use your directional D-pad buttons. Now let's go over to the bottom left corner. Square is shard, circle is your action, X is your defend, which I'm thinking is going to be your evasion, right? Because when we first saw the initial gameplay video, we saw Vaughn evading. So once you transition into turn-based, the map goes away and it basically adopts a visual similar to what we're used to seeing. Next, we have the action sequence, the order in which the units and characters are going to move. Now, this bottom left corner view right here switches over to this, over here. The only common icon between in real-time battle action and input command battle phase is this right here. The in real-time battle action reminds me a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles action gameplay in the sense that it happens automatically. So let's go ahead and trigger this fight right here. So if we want, okay, so now my controller is drifting, essentially is what that is. So if we look here, right, all I gotta do is keep him right next to the enemy and it'll automatically attack. If I want to stop attacking and start getting a little bit, and I want to move, I just move. I stop attacking. I stop attacking. I want to start attacking again. I got to go right back up to the enemy. And then I start attacking. Except if my controller decides to drift. The in real-time battle action in Kuro Kiseki looks a lot like what we were supposed to have seen in that demonstration I tried to provide for you guys. But you know, the devices don't want to work for your boy. Now, what do you want to look here? So if you watch closely, so she's attacking, then she moves, and then she moves, and then she doesn't start attacking until you stop. And then she will start going into a nice, steadily flow of attacks, kind of similar to what you would typically see in Xenoblade Chronicles in the auto parts. So I do believe that the in real-time battle action is actually automatic, and that you don't press any fighting like you don't spam any buttons in order to do your melees, like you would do in Yeast, for example. This blue bar, we want to watch this blue bar. She's still doing her melee attacks, nothing special. And then there we get a flash, and then the entire meter goes away. Right here, we get a flash, entire meter goes away, and right after the next, we get basically a mini explosion, stunning the enemy. And if you look at the lower left corner here, the shard skill has now highlighted. It is now glowing. The shard skill button is not glowing, and we're getting some sort of auditory command through with Vaughn. Stunned the enemy. Okay, she stunned the enemy, and then this person went into in real time. So the way I'm interpreting this information right here is that there is a weakness, not really weakness, I want to say that there's vulnerability when you're switching modes. So when you switch from in real-time battle action into input commands, that you can actually be attacked. You can actually take damage, which is why you want to switch off the stun. Now, this advantage attack right here could either be a secondary effect of that, or it could be an effect of that blue meter that we saw next to her, or it could be a shard skill. It's either or. Because if we look closely, right there, like, they stopped moving. Like, it's almost like a time freeze. See how they stop moving like that? How the time just stops for like a split second? So I'm gonna play it through one more time, and then we can see the time freeze for like a split frame right here. Right now, right there. That right there, I believe that effect is specific to Agnes. I'm not completely sure what that was. My theory for that, my explanation for that, it's either a function of that blue meter that we saw, when once you fill it up, you're able to use an advantage attack, or it's a shard skill specific to, it's a shard skill ability that Agnes can use based off her Zypha build. It's either or. I don't see any other explanation for that. It could also potentially be an S boost as well though. I do believe that that icon, when you press that circle button, is how you're going to switch between your in real-time battle action and go into your input command mode. The reason why I'm saying that is just right here. Sword icon being the same, and it's coined as action. So I do believe that's the button you have to press in order to switch from input command and battle action phase. And the other reason why I'm saying that, because that's from there you go onto your crafts and you go onto your magic. Now the only question with that is, what about your melees? If you go over here, right, if you want to use your melee, we have that same icon. That my X is that same exact icon that we saw in Colonel Kiseki in order to do our melees just like that. However, what I'm thinking is that if you want to do melees, you have to be in real-time battle action. I don't think you can do straight up just simple melee attacks in your input command. That mode is specifically for crafts and magic and S boost. That's not how it works, and that sword icon that we see in Colonel Kiseki does not indicate how we switch modes. There's no visual representation in these gameplay clips of how they're doing that. So that's my other reason why I do think that's the case. Now, a couple of last things I want to point out here before we move on. In this green little area is the crafts area of effect, right? It's AoE effect where it's going to do this damage. We have a line grid, and this line grid is the same thing as this right here. So I do believe that this shape right here is depicting the area of effect that the damage is going to be, like where the damage is going to be delivered for your craft that you're using. These particles right here that are surrounding Agnes, I do believe that's your ether. If you recall back, ether are basically forms of energy particles that the Zypha deploys that we can then utilize in order to enhance our battle functioning. So I do believe that's what we're seeing right here. And then if we go a little bit forward, as she starts to move towards Feri, we can see here right there, there's a little bit of a light flash. And then rings form around them. And then once she moves away, they break apart. Keep that in the back of your mind. Now let's go over to Feri Al-Fayed. Then if we look here, so right here she's roaming around, then she shoots. And then she moves, and then we can see as she's fighting, and every time she does a melee, so right here, she fired her gun, melee, it went up. Slightly, right there. Right, we can see it go up slightly. So it's looking like that meter fills up as you do melee attacks. So I do think it's a possibility that once you fill it up fully, that's essentially like a powered up, souped up melee attack that you can basically charge up and break. Something along those lines. One thing that's majorly different from this clip to Agnes's clip, remember in Agnes's clip, she's stunned before she switched modes. Here we're not, and we can see that this mech is moving with us. See that right there? It's moving with us. It's moving towards us. But because Feri did a black flip, right here that we can see, she increased her distance, which meant that the mech had to follow, giving us a little bit extra time in order to switch modes. So between the combination of seeing Agnes stunning the enemy and then switching modes, and Feri now attacking, black flipping, increasing her distance, and then switching modes, as well as the fact that we can clearly see that this bot right here is moving forward. We can clearly see he's moving forward as we switch modes. Makes me feel like there's no invincibility frames. So now we know that she has a craft that uses a blade, so she's not only a gun user. Right? She doesn't only use her gun. Maybe that's just how she uses for her melee, but she will have crafts for this as well. So she does have a craft for a blade. But now if we take a look at this, the way this moves, we slow it down frame by frame. She tosses it. It hits. If we look at the pathing, that pathing is not in a circle. It's almost in a cross. Right? If you take a look, it's kind of hard to see it, but it's not in a pure circle like how that AoE green circle was shown. Like it didn't circle around, like it didn't twirl around. It almost made a cross. Right? It almost made a cross. Right here. You can kind of see it like right here. If I stop, look how it's making kind of like an X right there. It's kind of crossing. So because of that, I do feel like it's a fair assumption to say that this shape does depict not necessarily the area on the ground, but the area but the pathway the damage is going to take. One thing I did forget to point out though, in this right corner, we have chain hits. So we got a chain hit of 6, and then we got a bonus damage. So if you don't get hit and you keep getting combo hits off, like you keep comboing, let's say you get to a let's say you get a hit chain of 30, 40, 60. This damage multiplier will increase. He's doing his magic, and then the damage multiplier bonus went up to 1.4. So so that is a thing. There's the damage bonus multiplier going on. Because you know, there's clearly not enough buffs based on what we saw with how the Zypha system is built. There's not enough buffs. We need more strength. We need some more power. You know what I'm saying? So we're in input command. They both have the shards around them, the ether. They both have the ether particles. They're close together. They have the ring formed, right? If we look over at if we look at Auron over here, he has the rings formed around his body. Feri attacks. Boom. And then she does damage, and then Auron comes in. And we see right here S.C.L.M. So S.C.L.M. is essentially going to be a combo attack, and you have to be in proximity to each other. The S.C.L.M. is not the same thing as a combat link. That's not what I'm saying. We're just using the two things to compare to each other. Because again, the S.C.L.M. is the Zypha, combat link is the Arcus, but they share similar functions. And the main difference, what I want to focus on, is right here. Main benefit of the combat link and the Arcus is that the link does not deform depending on the distance between your characters. Right? So right now, Kuro and Risha are in proximity, similar to how we just saw with Feri and Auron. However, I can move Kuro all the way to the other side of the map, of the battlefield map. And nothing is going to happen at all. We are still linked to each other. So now we can see, right? Even with the amount of distance that I have from my baby girl, we still get the combat off. We still get the combo chain off. With the S.C.L.M., you have to be in proximity. If you're not in proximity, like how we saw with the Agnes clip, to where Agnes went close to Feri, they connected that bond, they connected that we saw those rings, but then she moved away and it broke apart. It broke back into its particles. So you need to be in proximity in order to activate this combo chain. Main thing I want to point out with Vaughn, this little half right here, is again, we have this full blue meter fully filled up. We have the icon there, that means we can trigger it. And then we can see, similar to how Agnes's orbital staff glowed, we can see Vaughn's sword glow. Not his sword, his stun caliber. I don't think it's a blade. So we can see the glow. And then it does massive damage. It has that flash. Similar flashing towards what we saw with Agnes. So that's just something to point out there. Other than that, it's pretty much similar information that we've seen so far. The main thing I want to focus on, this right here, is an S-Craft. So it's confirmed. If they got rid of S-Crafts, that would have been horrid. Like, that would have been such a terrible idea if they got rid of S-Crafts. So dumb. Because S-Crafts is one of the best things about this game, at least for me. I love seeing these animations, like when I'm fighting. If they were to remove that, I would have been so ticked off. I'm just thinking about the fact that it could not have been there, which ticks me off right now. But this is guaranteed. This is guaranteeing that S-Crafts will be in this game, because we can see it clearly right here. That's pretty much the main important thing about his clip. That's pretty much everything on my end from what I've seen and what I analyzed from these clips. If you guys happen to notice something that I didn't pick up on, feel free to let us all know in the comments down below. Definitely. And then again, a lot of what I was picking out is what we see here verbatim. But some of the stuff I'm also interpreting based off my analysis, my ability to analyze things and sort of like look at stuff and pick things apart. Because the commentary obviously was pure Japanese. From what I looked at from the people that I trust for translations, that I actually trust them to give accurate information, they haven't translated the commentary of the stream into an actual script. So there's no, I don't know what they were saying during these parts. So they could have possibly, but although I highly doubt they would have picked it apart like I did right here. You know, because it's your boy here. I'm the analyst. I'm the analytical mind. You know, you'll feel me. But anyways, that's it for this one, y'all. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. Have a great day, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.